All right. So next thing we'll discuss is the broadcasts. So broadcasts, as the name suggests, um, are messages that the Android system or apps can send, and it may affect the functionality of other apps. It's basically one of the ways of, announcing something important happened in my app, and then let some other app handle it. Um, it does that through intents, but it's not the same as starting an activity of some other app using the start activity with the intent. Okay. Some examples of system broadcasts, that is the system generated broadcast, is a system boot up. So when it's booted up, there are certain apps that should be loaded first, or certain services that should be started uh, upfront, right? So a broadcast is sent, and apps that have registered for receiving that particular broadcast can then handle it. Another important one is headphones are connected or disconnected, right? So the music app may want to calibrate its sound level based on that. Um, Airplane mode on and off. That's another something that several networked app may want to start receiving messages or things like that when the airport mode is off, airplane mode is off, or stop sending any messages when it's on, and things like that. And you can have custom broadcasts which the app has created. Like a typical example is downloading data, and now the download is complete. So um, you know based on what kind of thing was being downloaded, like say if it's the system upgrade, then there could be several components on the device that want to handle that. Okay. So that's broadly about the broadcast. And as I said, you again use intents to deliver those messages. So broadcast receivers are app components that are triggered um, uh, to handle the broadcast. So simple step, a couple of steps to handle the broadcast is basically, you extend the broadcast receiver, create your own class, and implement the onReceive method in that particular class. We'll see an example pretty soon. Um, and another thing is register the broadcast receiver either statically or dynamically. So by now, I think many of you would have uh, an idea like what do we mean by statically versus dynamically. Almost always, statically is doing something in XML, like the Android manifest file in this case, and dynamically means doing something in your code, like Java or Kotlin code, things that can change at runtime. Okay, so to implement on receive, some best practices are do not implement long running operations on it. It's simply going to receive something that should be done quickly after receiving it. Um, like we talked about in the database videos, receiving an application not responding is a bad idea, and on receive will automatically time out after 10 seconds. So be careful about it. Okay. So do not implement asynchronous tasks here. Um, so once your code returns from an on receive, the system considers that the broadcast receiver is finished. So that process can be killed if you're doing another asynchronous task out of it, right? And it may not complete. So uh, do keep that in mind. Okay, static receivers, as I said, can be done via manifest files. Again, that's an old thing now. Um, uh, Oreo, that is 26 onwards. This is a quote from Developer's Guide. Static receivers can't receive most implicit broadcasts. Implicit ones are the ones that don't target your app specifically. Okay, and even if you register for these broadcasts in manifest, Android system won't deliver them to your app. So you should use dynamic receivers for these. Yeah, so a lot of changes that are not exactly backward compatible. Um, so be careful with the changes. If you simply look up online, well, now Oreo is not that new, but the first few results you would get, a couple of years back would be all the old ones. So you always have to keep an eye out on these changes. All right, dynamic receivers, they are also called context registered receivers because they depend on the running dynamic context, of course, and basically create an intent filter, and that's how you will handle those. So, and handle them in on receive. Okay, so let's look at an example. Um, so we are going to have this, again, another simple, silly app which handles three actions: um, airplane mode change, configuration change, and a custom action. So that the app produces. So in the onCreate of this activity, create a receiver and um, dynamically set the intent filters to these two things: intent action airplane mode change and configuration change, and then register it with the context. So this must happen in onCreate, um, and oh, I think I'm missing the pop out here. Um, but yeah, so the pointer is register it with this, that is the activity. And as long as this activity is alive, including on the background, it will continue receiving it. If you want to register it for longer duration, like for the entire application's context, um, then you can pass um, or you can call it on the get application context. So you can call it on the application's context, not just the activities context. All right, now quickly about custom broadcasts. So things that can be generated from your own app, like when you're done downloading the file. So um, you can create local a broadcast on the same app uh, using the local broadcast manager, call it get intent, get instance, sorry, and pass the application context. And the next thing is then to um, uh, basically call send broadcast. So the code base piece here gets the instance of the local broadcast manager and registers the receiver with the action custom broadcast. So this is something that we are doing. You know, these two actions are system built, and this one is our own. It's a custom broadcast. So finally, how do you receive it? On the broadcast receiver subclass, the on receive call basically gets the intent action. It's already registered, so nothing new, nothing additional to be done here. It's already registered, and in that you um, basically look at the action and um, you know take some action based on that. So if the action is configuration changed, you create a toast with this message that it just says configuration changed. Similarly, airplane mode changed, and the custom broadcast has its own message. I'm not going to show all these strings and layouts over here. These things are fairly straightforward. We know what they are, and you know that should be easy to do. This is essentially a demonstration of handling different intents. Okay, yeah. So both system and custom broadcasts are handled the same way using the intent action. Finally, the OnDestroy method um, should unregister and kill off the receiver. So um, all the dynamic receivers should be unregistered to save the resources. Um, this so depending on where you created it, where you registered it, you should unregister it in the symmetrical method. So on create and on destroy, which is what we are doing here. You could also do it in on start, on stop, or on pause and on resume, the activity lifecycle method pairs that we know of. Okay. So at this point, let's go ahead and take a look at the quick demo of this app. Again, I already have set up and installed. Yeah, broadcast receiver demo. Okay, so this button will send the custom broadcast, and you'll see the broadcast received here. But let's see the airplane mode change. Okay, and the toast kind of went away, but we had it there momentarily. So let's try to do it quickly. I didn't press it long enough. and there it is, airplane mode changed. Okay, similarly, on rotation also, it will show us configuration changed. So just a quick proof of concept of um, receiving broadcasts, and then what you want to do with it is the application specific, however you want to handle it. All right. So yes, let's stop here. Next, we'll talk about async tasks and other ways of creating threads and handling asynchronous operations. Thank you.